I've had
And
I've had Israel try to unalive me 4 times. I've had Secret Service walk up to me. I've had Mossad walked up to me, questioning me. I've been through so much in this movement, and I mean, I've been beat with bats and golf clubs. You know, any regular human would be like, "I give up. I can't do this." But me, I'm just like, I'm a
yeah,
redneck. I'm gonna tough it out, and I'm gonna keep going, man. I'm gonna keep going,
yeah.
and there's nothing that can stop me.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Daily Rumble. I am your host, Mike Dean, and today I have a very special guest, the Rednecks for Palestine, Abdullah Mohammed, with the iconic Free Palestine truck that has been all over the country and has garnered millions and millions of views. Today, we are talking to the myth, the legend, the man, Abdullah Mohammed, about the truck, which just got impounded in California. So, we're going to get into all that and more. Brother, welcome to the channel.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us, like, I know everybody knows the truck. Everybody's seen it on Instagram, everybody's seen it on YouTube, all the social medias. What is it that inspired you to jump on the awakening of the American people about what's been going on in Palestine, not just for the past couple of years, but for the past 7+ decades?
Well, I got to correct everybody there. You know, everybody thinks I just jumped onto this. I've been supporting Palestine since 2005. 9/11 had so many red flags for me that it made me study Israel, and it led me to Israel being behind 9/11. You know, with the dancing Israelis, why would a Muslim need a passport for a domestic flight? You know, how does a passport survive and the plane was incinerated? You know, a lot of things were not making sense to me. Why was their insurance taken out a week before 6 weeks prior to 9/11, you know, and why the designers owned the building, you know, a couple of years prior to 9/11 as well. So much stuff led me to Israel and led me to study in Palestine in 2005. I decided that I'm siding with Palestine and that Israel is committing a genocide. Well, back then it wasn't so much a genocide. It was still a genocide. It just wasn't, you know, as bad as it was as 7th.
Yeah, I mean, you've had for decades where you had the first, basically the first genocide where they had ethnically cleansed, hundreds of thousands of Palestinians out of their homes. Many Palestinians from that era still have the keys to their homes that they wear around their neck, hoping that one day they'll be able to go home. But,
I have one of those
there's a
keys.
do you?
I met a Palestinian sister that came here with her son for he was an amputee, and they gave me a house in Ramallah for all the hard work that I've done. You know that this truck is not the first car that I've wrapped Palestine. I've had a Honda that I painted Palestine, and I have followers on Instagram and TikTok that have known me back in 2020 when I drove that Honda to and from, you know, where I was going every day, you know. Yeah, people know that I've been supporting for a long time, and I know about
Yeah,
the
and that's one of
Nakbar and then the 2002 was it 2002 or 2003? I think it was 2003. So they've been committing a genocide for a long time. It's just now everybody sees it.
yeah. I mean, it's streamed in HD to everybody's phones, which is something which has been different because in the past they were able to clean it up and control the narrative with mainstream media, which is something they're still trying to do, but it's so much more difficult for them to control the media because of the fact that we have the internet and everybody has a smartphone, and no matter what they try to do, like Google tried to take away Upscrolled yesterday. They tried to shut it down because it was created by a Palestinian and there's no restrictions on people being able to share videos and images of what's happening. So they tried to take it down, but then there was just such a huge backlash of millions of people, canceling their Google subscriptions, etc., that they had to put it back up. So it's much more difficult for them to hide the truth today, and that's why I think things, initiatives like you're doing with the truck and the Honda before that, and raising this awareness is so important that we get the message out there because if we don't, then it just continues to happen. And I see it in my comment sections. You get the Israeli Zionist trolls in there, and they'll try and, "Well, it's only 0.0007% of their population. That's not a genocide, blah blah blah." Well, we know that that's not true. The
I mean,
best
the video
estimates
showed
right
that
now is over 200,000. Yeah.
and
And
the
so
videos show
and
it all.
here's, I've been saying this for a long time, that is, yes, they are committing a genocide, but at the same time, the Israeli society is sick. They don't want all the Palestinians dead because then they won't have anybody to abuse anymore, right? It's like the abusive spouse doesn't want to divorce his wife and let her go because then he now has no victim to play with all the time. And it's kinda
Exactly.
like this mentality of the Israeli society that they wanna kill them all, but at the same time, they don't want them all dead. They wanna make sure that they have just enough left so that they can continue to rape, pillage, murder, all that type of stuff that they're doing.
Yes, yes.
So, tell us a little bit about the truck, because that's really what has kinda sparked a lot of views on Instagram, particularly, but all the social medias. When you were building out the truck, first of all, like, how much did it cost to build that thing out? Because there's a lot
Well,
of work into
it
that, I'm
started
assuming.
it started with, right after October 7th, I went to work with a Palestine flag on my truck, and I'm a oil rig operator. I drill oil. I made $92 an hour, and I went to work with a flag on my truck. And I went as my normal day. I got up in the crane and I was getting ready to start drilling. I'm warming the drill up. Well, my boss calls me down and he's like, what what's going on with this flag? Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. We were allowed to be open about Palestine at the time. I was like, oh, well, I support the Palestinian people. I believe Israel's, committing a genocide. And at this time I was working for ExxonMobil. And he's like, well, I'm Israeli. I said, oh, well, then you were over there colonizing the Palestinian people and you are committing a genocide and you are raping women and killing children. And he said, you know what, you're fired. So I took my life savings and I spent about maybe the first wrap cost me about maybe about 8,000. And then it got vandalized and I spent another 10,000 on the new wrap that I have now. And then some of the wrap was done for free. And I mean, I don't know how many times I've had to fix the hood and redo the tailgate. But the kafia part was done by a good friend of mine in California, and he did a great job on it. And then kafia part's about 2 years old now. But the bottom half of my doors have had to be redone twice. The hoods had to be redone 4 times. The tailgate's been redone 4 times. And after they fired me, it was my mission. I didn't know what to do with my life. I lost my kids during COVID, both of my kids. And 3 years prior to that, my wife committed suicide because she was a bad alcoholic. And I told her I'm not going to stay in a relationship with an alcoholic. So I left her, took the kids with me, and she committed suicide off of drinking. So, I had a rough, and I didn't know what to do with myself. I was used to making money. I buried myself in my work. And so since they fired me, I took my life savings and I wrapped this truck and I didn't know what to do. And a law told me, go out here and teach people about what's going on in Palestine. So for the first 2 years, nobody knew who drove this truck. Not one soul. I mean, there were people that followed me and knew who I was and saw the journey of the truck and how it became what it really is now. But that was only a handful of people, and a lot of people, and some people thought I was doing this for clout. So I just basically hid myself and spent my own money, which was like $46,000 total, my life savings, just to bring awareness for Palestine and tell the people what's really going on over there. I mean, I was out showing people videos that you cannot even post on the internet that people were sending me straight from Gaza on WhatsApp. I was out showing people that they needed to watch Al Jazeera, and talking to people about Al Jazeera. I mean, if anybody's going to make a difference in this movement, And if they're going to listen to anybody, they're going to listen to white people because they're not listening to anybody else, you know? And what Israel hates the most, and one of the reasons why they've been trying to get my truck for a long time, and they've been trying to get me for a long time. They've attempted my life 4 times in 4 different states. It's come to the point where I've had to wear a vest when I go out and protest. You know, they, I'm white, but I'm not the white they want me to be, and I refuse to be the white they want me to be because I'm my own man, and I believe in freedom. And that's what I grew up on. In America, we went to school, we pledge allegiance to the flag. It's supposed to be the land of the free, the home of the braves, and everybody's supposed to be free. It doesn't matter what our color is or what our skin color is or what we believe in, rather we're Christian, Muslims, or Jewish, we have the right to be free to express what we want. And I've been out teaching people that Zionism is not Judaism. It is two different things, and Zionists, they use Judaism to mask their genocidal, insane plans to take over the world.
Well, it's not even like most people conflate Zionism to Judaism, but they don't even realize like the largest majority of Zionists are actually Christians, right? So the
That's what's going on
Protestant
in Riverside
Christians,
right now.
yeah, the Protestant Christians are the majority of Zionists. And so, I mean, we just had Tucker Carlson, and I can't believe I'm actually giving credit to Tucker Carlson for anything, but he is, I don't know, woken up to the insanity of the world that he used to promote. But he just did an interview with Mike Huckabee, the ambassador of the United States to Israel, and he absolutely laid it into him. And Mike Huckabee said straight up that I'm okay if Israel just takes over the entire Middle East. Like, that's Christian Zionism. And that's probably the biggest problem because Israel doesn't exist without Christian Zionism. And there's a
Mm,
really great book that I'm reading right now, and I'll link down in this video where you can pick it up. I have no affiliation with it, but it's about the history of Palestine. And Christian Zionism started before Israel even became a country. And if it was not for that, if it was not for Protestants, there would be no Israel today, because it was because of Protestants and Christian Zionism that they were able to move both the United States administration and England's administration to support the creation of a homeland for Jews, even though, we know that most of them actually don't have any Semitic blood whatsoever, as they are Khazar or converts to Judaism. But yeah, I think it's really important. Like, this, the whole reason why here at the Daily Rumble, why we do what we do, is because I come from a different perspective that a lot of white Americans don't have. And it's because they have been in this cocoon, this bubble of information from Fox News, CNN, ABC, NBC. And
yes.
you have the left-wing media and the right-wing media, but when it comes to Palestine, they're all united, which is against Palestine and pro-Israel. And
Yes.
because of that, most white Americans don't know the history. They don't know what is going on over there. They just think Palestine bad, Israel good, and it's actually the exact opposite.
Yeah, they don't really know because of the media. And you're right. That's why I tell them Al Jazeera. That's why I try to push Al Jazeera onto the people that I talk to about Palestine. And I mean, I can't imagine how many people's minds I've changed, not just in the United States, but all over the world with the advocacy that I do for Palestine. And the way I talk about Palestine is a little aggressive, but I'm the type of person that when I make a video, I don't edit it and I don't go back and remake it. Whatever, I'm a real man, and a real man is going to say what he's got to say, and whatever comes out, that's what's on the video. I mean, I'm not going to retake it. I'm not going to retake the video. I'm going to express how I feel right then and there. And a lot of my followers tell me I need to bring it down a little bit because, I'm Muslim and I need to watch my mouth. But I mean, I'm American too, and I'm new to Islam. So I grew up where in those eras where you speak your mind, you say what you want to say and you don't bite your tongue because what you're saying, it needs to be said against what's going on.
You know, during the time of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, one of the reverts to Islam, one of his companions, he was a great orator and poet, and he would absolutely just be able to destroy people with words. And the same thing where people, some of the companions were saying, "Oh, he needs to tone it down a little bit." And the prophet was like, "No. That's his thing. That's what is going to bring people to Islam is because he is able to destroy false narratives with his speech, which was so amazing. So I think it's great now. It's like, obviously there's way that Muslims should go about doing things. Like we don't use foul language and stuff like that. It's unneeded, especially like when you see people using foul language, it kind of destroys their own argument because now people look at their argument as not being valid. Well, Muslims don't use foul language. We don't need that to win arguments. We just base it on the facts and the truth. But I think every culture of Muslim, whether it be a white American, whether it be Asian, whether it be African, they all have something special to bring as Islam is truly like the melting pot. Like everybody talks about America being the melting pot. No. Islam is the melting pot. It is mixed with so many different cultures, ethnicities, languages, foods. Like when it all comes together, it's absolutely beautiful. So we all have a part to play. And I think that that redneck style, no BS. Here's the blatant truth. I'm not backing down. I'm a grown man and this is what you need to hear. You can do what you want with the information, but I'm going to give it to you raw and uncut. That's needed, right? Because in the Muslim community, there's a lot of Muslims who are afraid to speak up because of in their culture that's not something that they do. So you need that mix of other cultures in Islam that are able to do the speaking. And I say it all the time too, like nobody can show white Americans the truth better than a white American because unfortunately in America racism is still a very big thing, particularly with white people, but I mean it's with every culture. They all have some racism, but white people tend to like discredit anything coming from a black or a brown or an Asian person. But if it's coming from a white person, maybe they're a little bit more open to listening to it. I've had many people that have sent me DMs and comments, these white redneck guys, country boys, whatever, calling me all kinds of names. I'm able to then just DM them right back and just hit them with the truth. We start a conversation and by the end of the conversation, it may take 2, 3 days, maybe a couple of weeks. But by the end of it, now they're sitting there thinking, huh, well, I didn't know that. Well, dang, I didn't know that. And man, I didn't know that. Maybe I need to learn some more. Right. So it's kind of just mixed with the good and the bad. And we put out the truth and the information that people need to hear. And what they do with it is what they do with it.
Yeah, sorry, I keep wiping my nose. I'm a little under the weather, but I'm fasting, so I can't take any medicine right now.
You're good, brother. You're good. May Allah make it
But
easy on you.
no. So I mean, I've gotten a lot of messages and I've seen a lot of comments, where people are they make me feel good because and what it makes me feel like I need to keep going because people message all the time. You have changed thousands of people's minds out here all over the world. You're not just known in America, you're known. I've had people from UK, even people from Greenland. I've had people from Russia, people from Ukraine. I've had people from London and people from like Australia messaging me telling me that I have made a difference in their life and that they've never thought that they would see a person from America. They hated America because America funds the genocide. They hated us, but they look at some of us like myself and yourself. I'm not just a legend, brother. You are too. I love the work you do. I'm a big fan of yours, man. And I'm not going to stress that
Not
enough that
nothing
I'm a
like
big
you,
fan of
brother.
yours. But, and they love that we are out here telling the truth. And it shows them that not all Americans are like, you know, our government. I mean, I've
Yeah,
had Israel try to unalive me 4 times. I've had Secret Service walk up to me. I've had Mossad walk up to me. questioning me. I've been through so much in this movement, and I mean, I've been beat with bats and golf clubs. Any regular human would be like, I give up. I can't do this. But me, I'm just like, I'm a redneck, man. I'm going to tough it out and I'm going to keep going, man. I'm going to keep going. And there's nothing that can stop me. They could take my truck from me and crush it right now. I'll go buy another car and wrap it and be right back on the road spitting the truth again.
Yeah.
So they're not going to stop
And
me,
that's the
man.
thing that's Israel's worst nightmare is a redneck for Palestine because like
But yeah, I mean,
you're
yeah,
just not gonna back down.
no, we're not. I mean, I stand up for all rednecks that stand for injustice. For sure. And and redneck is not a racial slur for everybody that's watching this video. They must know that it started back in the 60s, the early 60s, when there was a group of miners. They were all different races. They tied a red bandana around their neck. They called themselves rednecks. And they rised up against the government because there was no union back then, and they wanted more money for the work they were doing. And that's where the redneck term comes from. Rednecks also worked with Martin Luther King during the Black Lives Matter movement. So I mean, rednecks have always been against the government, and a true redneck is against the government. They're gonna rise up.
Yeah, and I think, conservatives in the United States, obviously you have the bots and the trolls, and so they kind of skew it to make it think that is something that it's not. But I live in a very conservative town. My wife is full hijabi, and we have never had a single problem. People are so nice. The women come up and be like, "Oh my God, you're so beautiful," and this and that and everything else. And we've just never had an issue in my town because most conservatives they may sway a little bit to the right in support of Donald Trump, but even they're starting to realize now, like, man, this dude, I think he scammed us. Like, he was promising all these things, and then now he's just enriching himself, and he's just another stooge of Israel. And a lot of white conservatives are now waking up that Israel is not our best friend. Israel is the only country outside of war to attack one of our naval ships in the USS Liberty. Israel often
1977.
assassinates and bribes and blackmails American politicians. Like they're not our friends.
No, every war that we've been in since JFK, every war that we have been in America is because of Israel. Israel said, take out Saddam and we'll make mass changes in the Middle East. Well, they made up that Saddam had weapons of mass destruction. Well, I've met troops that went over there and they said, where were the weapons of mass destruction? We didn't find any, but we unalived the guy that they said to take out. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, I just interviewed the Afghan John Wick about 2 months ago. Go and watch that video. Army Special Forces, Green Beret. He was over in Afghanistan, mostly in Afghanistan because he's Afghani. But I mean, he was raised. I think he came to the United States when he was like 3 years old or something like that with his parents. And he was fed a lie. He was fed a lie about what was going on in Afghanistan. And of course, like the Taliban has some problems. They have some understandings of the religion that are out of bounds, but for the most part they offer security, they offer peace, they offer justice. The economy is growing despite the sanctions, all this stuff. Imagine this. There's bombs every single day in Kabul during the occupation of the United States. As soon as the United States leaves, all of a sudden there's no more terrorist attacks. Imagine that. So what was the problem? The problem was an occupation. Once the occupation is over, yeah, should they allow women to have education up into university? Yes, they should because that is incumbent upon Islam for all people to have education. But at the same time, they're doing their best to rebuild their country after 20 years. So he comes back and he just realizes he's like, man, I was completely lied to about everything, about why we went over there, about what was happening over there. And now he's got a big YouTube channel and he's growing. He does a lot of consulting with Hollywood movies and stuff like that for action scenes. He has a training company now. But when you talk to these vets who are over there, they'll tell you, like, we didn't do anything of benefit in Afghanistan or Iraq. We did nothing. All we did is blow a bunch of stuff up and then leave. And that is part and parcel of what the United States continues to do since World War II. We really have been lost militarily as to what our objectives are, because now it's just the military industrial complex. We need to expend shells and bullets and bombs. So just go invade something and just go blow it up. And that's why we're getting ready to invade Iran right now without any congressional oversight. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. But if you think about it, Benjamin Netanyahu has been to the United States to visit Donald Trump 7 times in just over a year. This is unheard of. It's unprecedented for any foreign leader to do that, right? So, why was before the 7th trip, Donald Trump was talking about we don't want war with Iran. Iran and we're building a relationship with Iran. We want to negotiate with Iran. We want to make the greatest Iran deal ever. And I'm sitting in Witkoff over my son-in-law, and we're going to make a great deal. Then Benjamin Netanyahu comes a week and a half ago, and now all of a sudden we have a second aircraft carrier going into striking position of Iran. And Iran is saying, well, if you're going to attack us, we might as well just preempt it and just start sinking your ships because you can't stop our supersonic missiles, right? So we're heading headlong into a war. And again, the U.S. Gerald Ford wasn't heading to Iran prior to Benjamin Netanyahu, only after he came. So he had some information to pressure Donald Trump into attacking Iran, and I think we'll be in a full scale war within the next 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, World War III is coming in. You know, you're right. He has been here 7 times, and that is like something that's never happened in history. But we know that there's 3 requirements to become president. You must be 35 years old. You must be a Zionist, and you must go kiss the wall over there, and you must bow down to them. So I mean, those are 3 requirements to become a president of America, and that's exactly what Donald Trump's trying to play both sides of the fences, and he can't. I mean, it's impossible because he's already admitted to being a Zionist. He's admitted on national television that he is a Zionist. So, you know, we already know that he's a Zionist, and he's not
And
going to
for
play
all the
both
white
sides of the
Christians
fences.
out there who worship Donald Trump, just ask yourself this: where's Donald Trump every Sunday? Is he at church? No. He's on the
He's
golf
on that
course.
golf course.
Yeah.
That's right. He's on that golf
Me and
course.
my wife were talking about it last night. It was like, Donald Trump has his entire career surrounding himself by Jews. His daughter converted to Judaism. His son-in-law is a devout Zionist Jew. Steve Witkoff, his personal lawyer, is a devout Zionist Jew. And there's video of him being surrounded by Jews in the White House. I think it was during his first term, where they clearly said this is America's first Jewish president, and he never goes to church. So there's a lot of suspicion that Donald Trump and his entire family converted to Judaism decades ago, and they just kept it a secret. And with his daughter, they can't keep it a secret because in Judaism, you're not Jewish if your mother's not Jewish, which would mean that Jared Kushner's kids would not be Jewish if she doesn't openly admit that she's Jewish. So she had to convert, but I think she had already converted a long time ago. And
I
that's
agree.
fine. I mean, to be honest, like, I'm not anti-Jewish and I'm not a
I've been
anti-Semite
there.
despite all the accusations that I get. But I think that when you hide it because you have ulterior motives, that's when it becomes a problem. Like everybody knows I'm Muslim. I don't hide that. I don't talk
Oh
about it a
yeah.
lot
Oh
because I
yeah.
talk about news and I'm not up here trying to preach Islam to people, but I don't hide the fact that I'm a Muslim. If you're hiding that you're Jewish, then that's a problem because that means you have some kind of ulterior motive.
Yeah, I don't hide that I'm Muslim either. I mean, actually, people that have questioned me about my truck, I tell them I'm Muslim. I'm a revert to Islam, and you can take it how you feel about listening to me as a white Muslim telling you about Palestine. But I mean, with religion aside, I'm yes, I'm a revert Muslim, and I'm proud to say it. I'm proud to say that I became Muslim because you know what? Nobody had in the world have I ever seen the most humble people besides Muslims. You know, if it wasn't for Islam, we wouldn't have half of the things we have in this world. You know, every day that somebody uses a bar of soap to wash their body, that came from Islam. Every day you count numbers, that comes from Islam. A lot of stuff, toothbrushes, they come from Islam. You're brushing your teeth, a Muslim made that. You know, so I mean, a lot of people don't understand that. And the
We
reason
would
they want the reason they want so much Islamic phobia is because they want to have sex shops and they want to have strip clubs and they want to have that. And Muslims, they don't drink, they don't gamble, they don't party. You know, and this this if the world lived as Muslims live, there would really be peace because there would be no temptation.
yeah. Yeah,
So
you wouldn't
I'm
have
proud to be a
OnlyFans.
Muslim.
You wouldn't
But
yeah,
yeah,
you wouldn't
no,
have strip clubs. And
there
when you
wouldn't
look
be.
at who owns all of that stuff, it tells you a story, right?
I mean, you
You know,
go. I've gone.
one thing that's funny is, if it wasn't for Muslims, you brought up the toothbrush. Did you know that the founder of this country, the one that is the most iconic, is Washington? He had wooden teeth because they didn't brush their teeth. So all of his teeth would rotted and fallen out, so he had to put wooden teeth in.
Yeah, and you know what's really funny? And when America was established in 18, when was America established? It doesn't matter.
1776.
76. So the first country to realize America as a state was Morocco, and that's a Muslim
Yeah,
country. So
yeah.
people in America don't know their history. Morocco was the first country to say that America is a state. So Muslims said that we are a state. So why is there so much hate against Muslims? Because they're
Yeah, it just comes from the
humble and
mainstream media.
pious. Like I said, they want to get rid of Islam so this way they can have their fun. And you know, they've openly said that they want to legalize pedophilia, and I don't like that. That is, yeah, they want to legalize that, and
Look
it's
at
a shame.
how quickly, when Donald Trump is heavily implicated in what's going on, they've changed the narrative to now saying, "Oh, well, in reality, a 13-year-old's a woman anyway." Right? So before it was, we got to get all these pedophiles. Oh, wait, our dear leader's implicated. So now let's just say, well, they were women anyway. But even then, that's besides the point, because these girls were illegally trafficked. They didn't want what was happening to them. They were lied to, they were kidnapped. Many of them are supposedly have been murdered. You have things like sulfuric acid in 600-gallon quantities being sent to the island for absolutely no valuable reason, other than you can dispose of an entire body that way and get rid of DNA. Like, there's all of these things, the pizza parties, all this stuff. It's so much worse than the fact that they were 13 and 14 and 15-year-olds. It's the fact that they were sexually assaulted, that they were raped, that they were forced into this life, that they were destroyed, and then they were cast away like garbage, the ones that survived
Yes,
and weren't
yes.
reportedly killed during this whole
Well, let's not
situation.
forget that they were also eating humans over there. I mean, cannibalism.
Yeah,
How
the pizza parties.
disgusting is that? That's
Yeah.
disgusting, man.
Um
Disgusting.
And they have all these rituals where they do these rituals to a statue of Baal and Moloch and stuff like that. We've been knowing that the rich and powerful do these types of things, and they get away with it because if somebody comes out and they try to testify, they try to whistle blow, they always mysteriously commit suicide. Like, every single time they commit
Yeah,
suicide,
yeah. I mean,
but
that's
we
why
all know the truth.
I make a lot of videos. You know, I have to make a lot of videos telling people, man, every time I have an interaction with the government, I got to make a video. I am not suicidal. I do not want to unalive myself. I'm happy with what I do with my life. I'm happy to be an activist for Palestine. If I go missing, the United States or Israel is behind it.
Yeah. I think what
Because my last
Palestine has done is it has opened up the eyes of the entire
of the
world, but
whole world.
especially the United States citizens are seeing now the evil of what can happen when you're not in control of your government. When you allow your government to adhere to an ideology of racial superiority and religious superiority, and let's be honest that most of the Jews in Israel freely admit that they're atheist and they're not even religious. And then when you combine the fact that they're also European and not Semitic, they're basically just colonizers in a cult. And that's kind of the problem with MAGA. MAGA has become a very similar cult ideology that you have in Israel with Zionism. And we have to continue to fight the information war, because if we don't, that very same thing that's happening to Palestinians can easily happen right here. Easily. And in fact, it could happen so much easier because of the fact that we have such a massive amount of weaponry here for the government to absolutely just slaughter millions of people. And it would be very difficult to defend against. I'm a supporter of the Second Amendment. I think people should be able to defend themselves. At the same time, that's not going to be enough if the government decided to start incinerating people, right? Because they're going to have the tanks and an AR-15. I'm sorry, it's not going to do anything against a tank. So we need to stop that from even becoming an issue by getting everybody to wake up to the danger of what's happening. Right now, the United States is this close to completely losing democracy. I mean, you don't spend $400 million on a ballroom that's probably not even going to be completed by the time your presidential term is up, just to up and leave, right? That's not
Well,
what
not only
happens.
that, I mean, you don't just the White House is a historical landmark, you know, and you cannot just tear down walls like that on a historical landmark.
And then, I mean, now if you look at the fact you see Donald Trump's face plastered over the front of the Department of Justice and other federal buildings with these giant banners. That's reminiscent of Stalin. That's reminiscent of every dictatorship around the world where they have these huge banners of the leader's face, the dear leader. And then to put that over the Department of Justice, that's kind of like the final nail, because the Department of Justice is supposed to be the one that protects us against corrupt politicians, presidents, congressmen, senators, etc. And when they're now compromised and they're not independent, clearly we know Pam Bondi is not. She's like the jaded ex-girlfriend that's still in love with Donald Trump because she'll defend him to her death, despite it being bad for her and destroying her and probably going to land her in prison in the future. She'll do it. And that's very scary when the Department of Justice is more concerned with protecting a corrupt politician than it is the American people. So again, I think what you're doing with bringing awareness to the Palestinians, humanizing the Palestinians with what you're doing with the truck and the social media, it's paramount. It needs to be done. In fact, I see it all the time. There needs to be 1,000,000 free Palestine trucks out there.
But yeah, I mean, I've encouraged people to let's start a convoy. Let's get a convoy started on one side of the country, and we all meet up in one state, and we all just drive to the White House, and we just go out there and we protest the streets of DC. It's not illegal to protest in a vehicle with flags on it. It's not illegal at all. So if we go on a convoy of thousands of cars, I mean, there's millions of supporters here in America. So we just need a lot of cars to get together. And I mean, I've seen other cars wrapped as well. I've seen one in New York. I've seen one in San Francisco. I've seen a Cybertruck. That's a slap in Elon Musk's face. I laughed when I saw that. It's Kafia. It was awesome, and to bring it back to when we were talking about ICE, my truck also now says that ICE is the new IDF of America, So, I mean, they are the new Israeli soldiers of America.
And they have a lot of IDF soldiers in ICE.
Yeah. Oh, yes, for sure. I've seen. They try to hide it, but I mean, I've seen American flags with Israeli flags on their vest,
Yeah.
and people are
That's
like,
why
"Oh,
they're
that's an
hiding their faces.
AI. That's an AI photoshopped, photo." It's not. It's
Yeah.
definitely not.
They 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 hide it. So one of the things that they're doing, and there's a whistleblower out there he's trying to stay anonymous because he's in fear for his life, but he works for the government. And he said that there are a couple of thousand ICE officers who are active IDF. So that means that we have foreigners from a foreign country running around our streets armed and attacking American citizens as well as undocumented people as well. But an American citizen is being attacked, and a lot of the times it's a foreigner that's doing it because they want to control the entire government. And so this is a great way for them to do it, is to implant their soldiers into our domestic police force. And it's very scary. It's very scary. Like it's an occupation. But
It
here's
is.
the thing that always inspires me. Despite the fact that we all know that we are currently under an occupation of our government, our economy, and even a lot of our domestic police officers, we outnumber them 300 to 1. So all we need to do is get enough people to wake up to what's going on and share the word and make sure that for example, we have midterms coming up right now. And for everybody that's going to see this, you need to understand this. If your candidate is in any kind of way in support of Israel, even defensive weapons to Israel, that's a Zionist. That's the enemy. Don't vote for them.
Or not only that, anybody that takes money from APAC.
Any of them. Because even then, APAC is the one that gets all of the attention. So what APAC did, they're very smart at what they do. They've broken off some of their funding into these new PACs, and they've given them different names. And so now there's 100 APACs. So you need to look at your candidate, and all of this has to be disclosed as to who their funding is. And you need to go through one by one, because I guarantee you at least one of them is a pro-Israel funding PAC, and you need to call them out on it. And if maybe your candidate doesn't know, make sure that they know. And then if they continue to take that money, you can't vote for them, because you're just voting for the enemy to occupy you.
Exactly. 100%.
Well, listen, brother,
100%.
I really want to thank you so much for everything that you're doing out there with the truck. I think it's a great idea putting a convoy together from maybe starting in California and heading to DC. I will certainly promote it if you want to keep promoting it on your social medias. And if anybody is interested in joining such an event, a cross country brotherly love and sisterly love event to go and show support for humanity, drop a DM on this or a comment on this video wherever you're seeing it on our social medias. And yeah, let's put something together. I think that's a fantastic idea. I think that'd be a very powerful message to just see thousands and thousands of cars with keffiyehs on it and Palestinian flags just rolling down the street all across the United States and having events and stuff.
Exactly. Yes.
That'd be awesome.
Yes. Yes. Well, my main focus right now is to try to get my truck back. I still have 16 days before they release it. There's a 30-day hold
Yeah.
on it.
And so, speaking of that, real quick, as we wrap this up, they impounded it for some tickets or something in Texas.
Okay,
Is that right?
so Texas will suspend your license or your registration when you don't pay your toll tickets. Well, they're online tickets, so I forgot to pay them. So they suspended my license, and to fix it, I paid the tickets, but I have to go and over there to Texas physically to go to the office and fix the tickets, take a new picture ID, and sign a paper saying that I paid the tickets, which they also mailed to my house in Texas. So once I get all the paperwork, my license will be restored. Right now, I have a licensed driver that wants to get my truck out of the impound. My registration is up to date, my insurance is up to date. Once we do that, then I am going to ship the truck from California to Texas, and I will be taking a train over there to fix the license, or I may drive. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But main focus, main focus right now, because even the brother said I'll drive you all the way to Texas and I'll fly home. So my main focus right now is to get the truck out of impound, and I have to survive 16 days with no truck, because usually, with me doing this, usually I sleep in my truck. I mean, I have a rental, but I only have it till Wednesday. So when that goes back Wednesday, it's like a free for all for me, you know. But it's okay because it's a struggle from a law. It's a test from a law. A law could be saving me from something that could have happened to me in these 30 days on the road. Anything could have happened. So, I see this as a law's testing me to see how strong my faith is towards him.
Alhamdulillah. Well, may Allah make it easy on you, especially during the month of Ramadan. And again, I want to thank you, and on behalf of everybody that's been affected by your mission with this truck. I think it's incredibly important, and may you be able to keep strong with it and keep going. Right now, free Palestine, free Palestine truck.
Yes, free Palestine and free the Palestine truck.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining. Make sure that you go and check out this man's social media. I will link it down in the
Rednecks
description below
support
of the video.
Palestine. You said rednecks
Yep.
for Palestine. It's actually rednecks support
Rednecks
Palestine.
support Palestine. You're right. Thank you so much, brother. And love to have you back on, especially once you get the truck out. We got to hook up in the future.
Oh yeah, definitely have to come see you and let you take. You got to see the truck in person. It's way better than
For
the
sure.
videos, and it's way bigger than you see in the videos. People look at it and they're like, "You got this small truck." No, it's pretty husky. You stand next to it, you think you're next to a monster truck, man.
Would love it. Would love it. All right, brother. Best to you, and we'll chop it up again soon.
Thank you for having me. Peace and love in Palestine.